welcome to the Property Wealth Podcast. We're so glad you're joining us today.
Yeah, it's great to have you here with us.
So we're diving into something really exciting today. Solar panel rentals as a passive income add-on. It's a bit of a twist on traditional real estate investing, right?
Absolutely. It's a fascinating topic. I mean, who wouldn't want to leverage their property for some extra cash flow?
Exactly. And it ties perfectly into the broader theme of building long-term wealth through real estate.
We'll discuss how solar panel rentals can create additional income streams and explore the benefits and considerations involved.
Plus, we'll touch on how this can fit into your overall investment strategy, especially for those of us over 40 looking to secure our financial future.
Right. And it's not just about making money. It's about making environmentally conscious choices that can add value to your properties.
So whether you're already in real estate or just getting started, there's something here for everyone.
Let's jump in and unravel how solar panel rentals can work for you.
Sounds good? So let's start with the basics. What are solar panel rentals and how do they actually work?
So, when we think about solar panel rentals, it's really about more than just generating income. It's about the bigger picture, especially for folks over 40.
Absolutely, Mike. I mean, retirement isn't just around the corner for a lot of people. It's like right there. And having that extra layer of income can make a huge difference in their financial security.
Exactly. And let's face it, with inflation being what it is right now, it's crucial to find ways to protect our wealth. I've seen so many investors, feeling the pinch at the grocery store or the gas pump, and that pressure can really weigh on you.
Right, and it's not just about the day-to-day expenses. People are thinking about their retirement timelines and, really, how to stretch that dollar, especially when costs are rising.
Yeah, and there's this idea of wealth transfer to family, too. Many of our listeners are in a phase where they want to set up a solid financial future, not just for themselves, but for their kids or grandkids.
Definitely. It's like, how do you create a legacy? I mean, I've heard stories from investors who've set up solar panel rentals, and then, when they pass on, they're leaving behind not just a property, but a stream of income for their loved ones.
Exactly. I remember working with a couple, let's call them the Johnsons. They were in their late 50s and had a few rental properties, but they wanted to add something that would, kind of future-proof their income.
The Johnsons? What did they end up doing?
Well, they decided to invest in solar panels and rent them out. They did their research, found a good solar company, and now they're earning passive income without the hassle of traditional rental management. It's been a game changer for them.
That's amazing! So they not only have their properties, but also this additional income stream that grows over time.
Right. And as we know, the market can shift. We've seen ups and downs, but energy prices tend to keep climbing. Owning assets that can keep pace with inflation is vital.
Yeah, and I can imagine the peace of mind that brings. I mean, when you're over 40, you start thinking about these things more seriously, right? Like, what happens if the market crashes or if you need to tap into savings?
Exactly. And here's the thing. With solar panel rentals, you're not just chasing the next hot property market. You're really diversifying your income.
It feels like a hedge against uncertainty, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Plus, there's an emotional side to all this. Knowing you have a reliable income stream can take a lot of stress off your shoulders.
I can see that. It's not just money, it's security. You can sleep a little easier knowing that those panels are working for you, even while you're sleeping.
Exactly. And I think for a lot of people, it's about having that freedom to enjoy life, spend time with family, travel, without worrying too much about finances.
Yes. And it's also about being able to make choices. Like, when you have rental properties and solar income, you're not tied down to a job you don't love just to pay the bills.
Right. I mean, I've seen folks like the Johnsons take that leap. They now have the flexibility to pursue hobbies, spend more time with grandkids, or even volunteer. It's a whole new lease on life.
And let's not forget the environmental aspect. Investing in solar isn't just good for your bank account. It's good for the planet, too.
Absolutely. People are increasingly looking for sustainable options, and having solar panels can make your properties more attractive to renters, especially younger generations who prioritize eco-friendly living.
So it's like a win-win. You're investing in your future while also being responsible stewards of the environment.
Exactly. And we're seeing more and more cities and states offering incentives for solar investments, which can help offset the initial costs.
That's a great point. It's like the government is saying, hey, we want to support this too.
Right, and those incentives can really help make it feasible for someone who might be hesitant about the upfront costs.
Like, do I really want to take on this additional investment? But with those incentives, it can become a lot more manageable.
Exactly. Plus, once the panels are installed, the maintenance is relatively low. You're not worrying about tenants calling you for leaky faucets.
Ha! That's a big relief. So it's truly passive income in that sense.
Yeah, and I think people often overlook this kind of investment because they think it's complicated or out of reach. But it doesn't have to be.
Right, and for our listeners over 40, this could be a fantastic way to build that financial cushion they're looking for.
Exactly, and it's important to start thinking about these things sooner rather than later. The earlier you can set up these systems, the better off you'll be down the road.
So, Mike, with all this in mind, what are some core strategies for getting started with solar panel rentals?
Well, let's dive into that. So, let's dive into some core strategies around solar panel rentals, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing to consider is the basic math behind it. There are a few rules of thumb that can really help you assess if a solar rental makes sense for you.
Right. One of the most commonly used is the 1% rule. It's pretty straightforward. If your monthly rental income is at least 1% of the purchase price, it's generally a good indicator that the property could be a solid investment.
So if you buy a property for, say, $200,000, you'd want to aim for at least $2,000 in monthly rent, right?
Exactly. But when you're adding solar panels into the mix, you want to think about the additional income they can generate. Let's say you install solar panels and you can rent them out for, $150 a month. That can give you an extra boost.
That's interesting. So when you factor that in, your effective rental income increases.
Right. So if you're now looking at a total of $2, $150 a month from that same property, you're significantly above the 1% rule. It's a good sign.
And then there's the 50% rule, which is really useful for estimating your expenses.
Yes, the 50% rule suggests that, on average, you should expect to spend about 50% of your rental income on operating expenses, like maintenance, property management, insurance, and, utilities.
So if you're grossing $2, $150 a month, you'd want to budget about $1.075 for those expenses, leaving you with $1.075 in potential profit.
Correct. Now, if you're considering solar rentals, you also need to think about how those expenses might shift. Solar can reduce utility costs, which is a plus, but you also have to maintain those systems.
Right, and I guess that's something to keep in mind when evaluating your overall cash flow.
Exactly. Let's talk about cap rates for a minute. The capitalization rate helps you gauge the potential return on investment for a property. It's calculated by dividing the net operating income by the property's purchase price.
So if your net operating income is, let's say, $12,000 a year from all that rental income, and you bought the property for $200,000, your cap rate would be...
You divide $12,000 by $200,000, which gives you a cap rate of 6%. Higher cap rates generally indicate better returns, while lower cap rates might suggest a riskier investment,
That makes sense. So factoring in the income from solar panels could potentially improve your cap rate as well?
Absolutely. If the solar rental income increases your overall net operating income, that would raise your cap rate, making the investment even more attractive.
It's like a win-win situation. Now, what about deal evaluation checklists?
Great question. When assessing a deal, I always recommend having a checklist. Start with the location. How's the neighborhood? Is it growing or declining?
That's crucial. You want to invest in an area with potential for appreciation.
Exactly. Then check the condition of the property. You don't want any hidden surprises, especially with older homes. A thorough inspection is key.
And don't forget about the solar aspect. Check if the system is owned or leased.
Yes, that's vital. If it's leased, you might have ongoing payments, which could affect your cash flow. If it's owned, you'll benefit from the energy savings directly.
And what about financing options?
Well, you've got a variety of choices. Traditional mortgages, of course, but also consider specialty loans for energy-efficient upgrades. Some lenders offer incentives for solar investments, which could lower your overall borrowing costs.
That's such a good point. And if you're financing the solar panels separately, you could potentially add that cost into the property's overall financing package.
Right, so it's all about maximizing your return. Also, think about using cash if you have it. That avoids interest payments and can save you a lot in the long run.
For sure. And let's not forget about the types of properties that work best for solar panel rentals.
Good call. Single-family homes are often a great fit because they're easier to manage, but multifamily units can also be lucrative. More units mean more rental income, which can help you absorb the costs of the solar installation.
And don't overlook commercial properties either. Some businesses are looking to reduce their utility costs, so they might be interested in a solar rental agreement.
Exactly. You're opening up a whole new market there. Just make sure you understand the local zoning laws and regulations when it comes to installing solar.
Yeah, that can be a real game changer.
It can be. Now, before we transition to common pitfalls, I think it's important to emphasize the long-term nature of these strategies. Building wealth through real estate is often about patience and consistent effort.
Definitely. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but with the right approach, you can create a sustainable income stream.
Exactly. So let's move on to those common pitfalls. You know, Sarah, one of the biggest pitfalls I see with investors getting into solar panel rentals is over-leveraging. They get so excited about the potential returns that they dive in headfirst, taking on more debt than they can handle.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see how that enthusiasm could lead to some risky decisions. What typically goes wrong there?
Well, let's say someone buys a property with solar panels, thinking they'll just rent it out and make a killing. But they've taken out a big loan to finance the installation. If the rental income doesn't cover the mortgage payments, they're in real trouble.
Right, so they're kind of setting themselves up for failure. Have you seen any specific examples of this happening?
Absolutely. I once spoke to a client who bought a duplex. They installed solar panels, but didn't factor in the cost of maintenance or the potential downtime when tenants moved out. Their cash flow was tight, and they ended up struggling to make even the mortgage payments.
Wow, that sounds stressful. So it's really crucial to have a clear picture of all the costs involved.
Exactly. And then there are bad tenants. That can be a real headache. You might think, oh, I've got a great property with solar panels. How could I get bad tenants? But it happens more often than you'd think.
Sure, so what are some of the red flags to look for when screening tenants?
Well, you want to pay attention to their rental history. If someone has frequent moves, or if they've had evictions in the past, that's a warning sign. Also, how they communicate during the application process can tell you a lot.
Interesting. So if they're disorganized or vague about their past, that might be a red flag?
Exactly. And don't forget about cash flow. A lot of investors overlook this when they're focused on the excitement of solar energy and passive income. It's all about knowing your numbers, right?
For sure. So what kind of cash flow issues have you seen?
I had another client who bought a property thinking the solar panels would offset their electric bill enough to create a nice profit. But the savings weren't as substantial as projected. They ended up with a property that wasn't cash flow positive.
That's tough. So how can someone avoid that scenario?
It's really about doing your homework. Get realistic estimates on energy savings and always have a buffer in your budget for unexpected expenses. You need to be prepared for months where you might not have a tenant, or if there are repairs needed on the panels.
Makes sense. And what about timing the market? I know that can be a big issue in real estate.
Definitely. Many investors try to time their investments perfectly, waiting for the ideal moment to jump in. But the truth is, the market is unpredictable.
Right, so what happens if someone waits too long?
I've seen investors miss out on great opportunities because they were waiting for prices to drop. Then, they end up paying more later, or get frustrated and back out entirely.
So it's better to just get in, do your research, and make a move when it feels right.
Exactly. And speaking of timing, it's crucial to be aware of hidden costs. Many people don't realize that solar panel installations come with additional expenses that can sneak up on you.
Like what?
Well, installation costs can vary widely, and then there's maintenance. Some states have additional fees for permits or inspections, and you need to factor in those ongoing costs as well.
So it's really about understanding the full scope of the investment, right?
Absolutely. I had a colleague who thought he was getting a great deal on a solar panel system, but once he added up the installation fees and the maintenance costs over the years, he realized he was in the red.
Ouch. That's a hard lesson.
It is. And that's why it's essential to have a solid understanding of your investment from every angle. Look for those hidden costs up front. They can make a huge difference in your overall profitability.
So it sounds like the key is to do thorough research and preparation. But what if someone finds themselves in a situation where they've made these mistakes? How can they recover?
Well, the first step is to take a deep breath and assess the situation. Acknowledge where things went wrong and then create a plan. If cash flow is an issue, maybe you can consider raising rents or finding ways to reduce expenses.
And if they're struggling with bad tenants?
Communication is key. If you're having trouble, try talking to them to see if there are ways to resolve the issues. Sometimes a simple conversation can clear up misunderstandings. But if it's really not working, don't be afraid to start the eviction process.
Yeah, it's tough, but sometimes it's necessary.
Exactly. And for those who have over-leveraged, it might be a good idea to consult with a financial advisor. They can help you explore options like refinancing or restructuring debt.
So it really comes down to being proactive and seeking help when needed, right?
Yes, and remember, every mistake is a learning opportunity. If you can identify red flags early and take action, you'll be in a better position moving forward.
Such great advice, Mike. It sounds like the key to success is being informed, prepared, and adaptable.
Absolutely. And that's how you build long-term wealth in real estate.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue into what our next steps might look like for our listeners.
All right, let's dive into some immediate steps and tools that you can use today to start exploring solar panel rentals as a passive income opportunity.
Absolutely. It's like, where do we even begin, right?
Well, first off, I think it's crucial to assess your current investments. Take a look at your portfolio and see how solar energy could fit in. Maybe you already have properties that could benefit from solar panel installations.
Yeah, that makes sense. And from there, you can start researching the local regulations and incentives. I mean, every area has different policies regarding solar energy, right?
Exactly. You might want to check out the database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency, or DSIRE. It's a great resource for finding local incentives.
Oh, and while you're at it, don't forget to look into federal tax credits for solar investments. Those can really boost your return.
For sure. Now, if you're looking to get a better understanding of the market and property values, tools like Zillow or Realtor.com can be super helpful. They give you a good overview of what's happening in your area.
Right. And if you want to analyze potential deals, I highly recommend using the BiggerPockets calculator. It's user-friendly and really helps break down your numbers.
Yes, and for those interested in rental properties, Rentometer is fantastic for comparing rental rates in your area. You want to ensure that your solar investment will actually make sense financially.
Great tools. And what about connecting with others? I mean, building a network is super important, right?
Absolutely. Joining a local real estate meetup or a solar energy group can be a game changer. You can learn from others, experiences, and who knows, you might find some great partnerships.
Networking is key. And of course, you can also check out podcasts and books on real estate investing and solar energy. There are some amazing resources out there.
Definitely. The book on rental property investing by Brandon Turner is a solid choice. It covers a lot of ground, including how to incorporate energy-efficient upgrades.
Ooh, and for podcasts, BiggerPockets Real Estate Podcast is a must-listen. They often touch on innovative investment strategies, including solar.
Those are great recommendations. Now let's talk about habits. I think starting small can really help ease you into this. Maybe set a goal to analyze one deal per week, or even just research different solar companies in your area.
I love that. Just dedicating a bit of time each week can lead to significant progress over time.
Exactly. And consider setting up alerts on your local MLS for properties that have solar panels or are energy efficient. It keeps you informed without overwhelming you.
That's a smart move. Also, don't forget to keep an eye on industry trends. Subscribe to newsletters or follow online forums related to solar energy and real estate investing.
Yes, staying informed is key. It will help you make more educated decisions down the line.
And, starting with small investments in solar technology, like leasing panels or participating in community solar projects, can be a less daunting way to dip your toes in.
That's a great point. It lowers the barrier to entry and allows you to gain experience without committing to a large upfront cost.
Exactly. And remember, it's about starting where you are. Every little step counts. And you don't have to rush into anything.
Right. And as you start taking these steps, you'll build confidence and knowledge. Soon enough, you'll be able to make more informed decisions about larger investments.
It's really all about creating a foundation for your future, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, with these tools in your pocket, you're ready to move forward. Let's recap what we've covered today. Well, Sarah, as we wrap up, I think we really hit on some important points about solar panel rentals, right?
Absolutely, Mike. One of the key takeaways is how solar panel rentals can create a steady stream of passive income. It's like having an extra layer of security in your investment portfolio.
Yeah, and we also talked about the potential tax benefits. I mean, who doesn't want to save a bit on taxes while making money, right?
Exactly. And let's not forget the environmental angle. It's not just about income, but also contributing to a greener planet. It feels good to invest in something that aligns with our values.
Right, and then there's the flexibility in terms of upfront costs. Many people might think they need to shell out a lot of cash, but there are options like leasing that can ease that burden.
Yes, and it can be a great way to increase the value of your property, making it more attractive to future buyers or renters. A win-win situation.
So for anyone listening, remember that building wealth through real estate doesn't have to be daunting. With the right strategies, like solar rentals, you can really make your money work for you.
And speaking of strategies, we'd love to hear what you think. If you found something valuable today, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment about your biggest takeaway, or even a question you might have.
And hey, if you know someone over 40 who's looking to dive into property investing, share this episode with them. It could really make a difference.
Next time, we'll be diving into EV charging station investments on properties. Such an exciting area with so much potential.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to.
Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time to invest in your future with us.
Until next time, take care and keep building that wealth.